Hi there, this is Ajit Navlaka, your host at Ever Coach. And like you can imagine, all of us are in a lockdown, and so am I. I'm recording this from our guest room, where I makeshifted a desk for myself, so I can record this stuff for you and continue to deliver amazing stuff at Ever Coach. But because of that, of course, I don't have my whole gear. I didn't want to set it all up, and so this week, instead of sending in a fully crafted, beautifully looking video, what I've done is I've done something even more useful for you. So here's what you will find. In this video, you're going to learn about the 9 steps that you can use right now to create your new program, new online course in just the next couple of weeks. The reason why I'm sending this over is because this is while we are cooped up, a lot of us are not able to really operate our businesses in the way that we have been. And so it's a great idea to kind of take all that insight, that information, that knowledge that you may have and craft it into a course. In the next couple of weeks, in these 9 simple steps, you can not only create your course, but launch your course and enroll some students in it. Instead of recording the whole video, what I've done is I've taken the masterclass that I recorded with Jason Goldberg, who you know is a phenomenal coach. And we are taking his system. I've taken that masterclass and edited it in a way that you can utilize that class, those steps, to really start making your online program and see how coaching connects to that online program, so you can not only benefit from the sales of the program, but actually also benefit by increasing your coaching business. So without further ado, let's roll it.
Okay, so step 1, we're gonna focus on clarity and mindset. So this is a really big shift you're gonna wanna make right away, is to start seeing yourself as a teacher as well as being a coach. And there can be some reservations sometimes when you're a coach. You say, well, I'm not a teacher, I'm a coach. Like, as Ajit mentioned, my content shows up from my clients. Well, yes, that's true, but if you're ever sharing your experience of the world, things that have transformed your own life when you're in a session with your clients, then you are in a sense a teacher. Right? So the first thing is really to understand the mindset of a teacher and the mindset of a coach are actually very similar. I don't want you to see those as two disparate people that you either are one or the other. They fit in very well together. So just recognizing that for yourself. And even more important in this step is clarity. Now, clarity is a word that we talk about all the time. We throw that around. You've probably heard the word clarity a billion times in any kind of trainings you've been in. But we want to really anchor this in to make this real and applicable for you. And the clarity that we're talking about here is getting really clear on why you want to build a course. Now, we're not talking yet about why you want to build a course for the sake of your business, but really for you. Why do you feel a need? Why do you feel like there is something missing or something that would be more fulfilling by you having an online course, by you creating transformations for a larger group of people? Now for me, I've shared with you, I really wanted to scale the impact that I had in the world, and I knew I wouldn't be able to do that strictly serving people one-to-one. And so I said, how can I do this? How can I really expand this more? How can I really feel like I'm making the difference that I know that I'm meant to make in the world? And that's where creating transformational courses came in. So I want you to take a minute now in your worksheet and just put pen to paper, like make this real. And this is a thing nobody wants to do. They want to dive right into the work, but this is so important, because you know what? There are challenges along the way when you do anything that's worth doing. And I want you to be so on purpose and so passionate about the work you're doing, so connected to why you're doing it, that no challenge will ever shake you from your core. So take a minute, write down your why for why you want to create a course, and then we'll move on to step 2. So now that you have your why, you're anchored in that clarity and that mindset of being a teacher, and you're connected to what you're doing, let's make this real on the business side. So step 2 is the business model. So a lot of people will ask me, what do I do for my course? What do I teach? How should I publish it? How should I promote it? And the problem with those questions is that they're wonderful questions, they're just in the wrong order. Because what we want to focus on before content is context. Figuring out where in your business does a course actually fit. Why are you creating a course? Do you want to do it for lead generation? Are you newer and want to do it just to kind of build awareness of who you are and what your beliefs are? Do you want it to be a significant portion of revenue for you, or do you possibly want to use this as a stepping stone for people to work with you in other ways, whether it's one-on-one or in a mastermind group or in other courses? All of these things are completely valid reasons to create a course online, but it's important you know this, because as we go forward with the rest of the steps in the blueprint, knowing this will help you to figure out how much time, energy, and effort you put into your course, what the structure is going to look like, how much you engage with people. So for me, I was very clear that when I created Playful Prosperity, I wanted it to not just be additional revenue in my business, but I wanted it to really deepen my relationship with my tribe and give me the opportunity to what I call upserve them and serve them in more deep ways going forward. So for me, when I ran Playful Prosperity for the first time, and we had 75 people in the program the very first time we ran it, and at the end of 8 weeks, I know that I had served them so powerfully that it would be much easier for me to give them opportunities to work with me in other ways. And that's when I created things like Playful Prosperity Mastery, which was a 6-month mastermind group. I created the Business Unusual System, which was a 3-month kind of mastermind group program. And then of course I had one-on-one coaching and even a weekend small group intensive that I offered. All these things were areas of my business that were able to be expanded without me having to expand my marketing effort, right? So really important to understand where a course fits in the context of your business before you ever think about what the content's gonna be. So take a minute now on your worksheet and write down, where does a course fit in your business? When you envision having a completed course, a course that you're really proud of, that you feel really captures your essence and your energy and the things that you love to teach and the things you love to coach people on, when you imagine having that right now as a completed product in front of you, what do you see that doing for your business? How do you see that growing your income or your impact? Take a few minutes and write that down now, and then we'll jump into step 3. So now moving on to step 3. Step 3 is all about The Who. I don't mean the rock band from the 70s, if anybody here is even old enough to know who that is. The Who is about figuring out, who is this course for? Because now you know that you want to create a course and how it fits in your business, but obviously human beings are going to be the ones that are going to be transformed. So we want to be really clear on who this is for, right? Figuring out who your ideal avatar is going to be, the people that you can get or that you can have the highest expectation of getting great outcomes from the work that you share with them. So it's really important for you to figure out what are the things that you are uniquely qualified to serve people around that they actually have some pains with, right? It's identifying these pain points. And don't get too caught up in figuring out the pain points or thinking you have to do a crazy amount of surveying or a crazy amount of research. Look at your own pain points, right? Look at the things that were troubling you a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago, and that will give you so much insight into who you could be best serving. Because that is the number one thing that we can do to serve people, is serve them based on our own transformation. So you want to take time now before you dive into exactly what you're going to be teaching and envision, who is the person that can get the most benefit from what I'm doing? And this is something that came up for me when I was doing Playful Prosperity the first time, is that I felt a lot of pressure around doing that. And I said, wait a second, I got to figure out like the perfect person that's going to get all the most amazing results in the world. And I have to feel this pressure of like creating that transformation for them. And I finally had a shift around this, and the shift was this. I want to think about who is the person out there in the world that if they actually diligently did all of the things that I would share with them, that they would have a high likelihood of success. Not a guarantee of success. This is not that you say this and every single person that takes your course has to have this outcome, but think of one person. Maybe it's somebody you've already coached. Maybe it's somebody that you've been exposed to before, that you've served already. And ask yourself, what was it about that person and about our engagement, about our interaction, about the way we work together that helped them get such a great transformation? And that's a wonderful way for you to key in to who you can uniquely serve with your online course. So write that down now in your worksheet and just get a couple notes down of who you could best serve and who your course might be for. So step 4 in the blueprint is you want to define your style. Right? The style of what your course is going to be about. And there are many different ways that you can structure a course. There are many different styles that you can have in your course. You could create a signature program that's kind of really diving in deep to all of the core things that you really believe in and things that you typically coach people around. And that's kind of your biggest offering. For me, I decided a signature course is what I wanted to do for Playful Prosperity. So it's 8 full weeks. There's 8 modules of content. There's a lot of things in there, and it's really kind of holistic. It goes really, really deep into the transformation. But that's not the only style. Maybe you're not ready to do that right away. That's okay. You can still create transformations with a smaller course, maybe a mini course. So for example, maybe for me with Playful Prosperity, if I had gone the other way, I may have created a mini course that was just one module of what I would have taught in Playful Prosperity. Just to teach that, to practice putting something out in the world, to get people's feedback, to get testimonials, to get people to see what was possible from that module. And then I may upgrade and escalate later on to creating it more of a signature course. So really important to kind of ask yourself when you're creating a course, do you want it to be this real deep, multi-module, multi-hour kind of content that you share? Or do you want it to be a smaller thing that's consumed more quickly just so people get a sense of what it is you do and how you do it? Now, another part of this as well is figuring out how you want to present that course. Now, you can do things like video. You can do things like audio. You can have a course that's even based over email. Now, of course, recognize that the more interactive your course is and the more intimate people feel with you, the better the transformation is going to be, but you get to pick. Do you want to do a course that's strictly video or strictly audio? Do you want to have a mix of those things where maybe you do some things that are video and some things that are audio? You get to choose what you do there. For me in Playful Prosperity, I knew that the best way I could show up and transmit my energy and my teachings to people was to have video. And we'll teach you a lot more about that in the following blueprints of how you do that. But for now, just recognize and take some notes as to what kind of style of course you would want to have and the delivery method you would like to use for your course. Step 5 in the blueprint is the one that everybody probably wishes was step 1 in the blueprint, but now you've seen as we've gone through this, there's some work we need to do before we dive into this. Step 5 is about figuring out what to teach. Right? And this is a big question for so many people. What do I teach? I have so many different things that I'm into, so many different things that I'm interested in, so many things that I coach people around, and that's all great. That means you have tons of information and tons of wisdom and experience you could use for multiple courses or for different areas of the same course. But for me, the number one place that I wanted to look was my own experience. So for me, I looked at my own transformation, right? So for Playful Prosperity, I said, well, what do I think people would believe about success and prosperity beforehand? And I realized that I always thought I had to be serious to be successful, that I had to be like super tight gripped and controlling about every single thing that I did in the world. And that had been drilled into my head and conditioned into my head. And I asked myself, well, what have I seen as being possible through myself being coached, my own transformation, and through coaching other people? And I realized, well, wow, you can actually be playful. You can actually loosen your grip on things and actually have fun in the process of creating and instead of having it be such a stressful endeavor. So for me, I didn't need to research playfulness. I didn't need to do an intellectual exercise to figure out what I was going to teach. I simply looked at what was it that I believed about the world at one point that held me back, and what do I believe about the world now that when I practice it, I have exponentially better success. So that's what I would want you to look at for you. Jot some notes down about what that might be for you. And as a bonus, there's something really amazing, the most powerful thing that I could possibly offer you to really help with content creation once you're looking at your own transformation. I created this method called the moonwalk, right? The moonwalk method for figuring out content in your course. So stick around to the end and I'm gonna walk you through how to use that exercise to create stellar content and make the entire flow of your course so much more easy to create and so much more powerful. All right, and if the biggest objection and the biggest reservation that I've seen coaches have to creating a course is, I don't know if I'm good enough, what can I possibly teach, why would people sign up? The closest second, I mean like neck and neck, is how do I actually create the thing? Like from a technology standpoint and from an equipment standpoint, how do I film it? How do I get the audio? How do I get the video? How do I get the platforms? And this holds people back so much. And this is actually the number one thing that coaches typically ask me or they're worried about. And really they're more concerned about what to teach, but it's easier just to say, I don't know what tech platforms to use. But the easiest thing to recognize here is that you can do this all yourself. And yes, we're here right now, we have a professional film crew and there's 74 people in this, no, I'm kidding. There's a few people in this room that are making sure all this looks good and sounds good and so you have access to it. But listen, Playful Prosperity, my signature course, one that's been responsible for multiple six figures of money in my business in different ways, shapes, and forms, was filmed on the built-in webcam on my laptop. And so that was what I did. I did the course entirely myself, from the filming to the editing to the actual publishing it online. I did it all myself, and that's possible for you as well. So any fears you may have that technology or access to film crews and all these things would hold you back from putting out a transformational course, I'm here to tell you from my own experience, it's just not true. I am freeing you from that belief now so you can get back to having fun in your course creation process. So now that you have and understand how to do all these things up to this point, and now we've talked about the actual publishing and the editing and all those things, the next step we want to think about is what happens outside of the actual course content itself. And what we really believe helps people to have a transformational course as opposed to just more noise out into the world is one key word. It's going to be the word that's going to dictate the success of your course, and it's this: engagement. Right? Really having some level of engagement with the people that you work with. And this is the difference between having a course that's a do-it-yourself course versus a course that's a done-with-you course, where you're really with the people and supporting them. So in Playful Prosperity, I knew right away that I did not want to just have video content that I released to people and then leave them alone. I knew that in order to have the deepest impact with them, I was going to need to be with them on the journey live. And so I decided before the course ever started that there were two key elements of engagement that I wanted to have. Number one was a Facebook community, and number two were live group coaching calls. And I can't tell you, I cannot underestimate the power, especially of those live group coaching calls. And this is the most beautiful thing. This is why I'm so excited to be talking to you, is because you are a coach. Imagine somebody who's a teacher out in the world, who's maybe just an academic or just somebody who loves to teach and have a monologue with people. Do you think they could be at all comfortable actually coaching people around the things they're teaching? Of course not. They want to just give you the information and run away, but you have a particular skill set. You're able to not just teach people about concepts and ideas, you're able to help them extract how that actually applies in their world. You're able to help them experience transformation. You're able to facilitate the transformation around what it is you teach. So it's very important in this step that you think about how much engagement you want to have in your course, knowing that the more engagement you have with your tribe, the more engagement you have with your students, the more transformation they're going to experience and the greater success they and you will have as a result of this course. Step 8 is one of my favorite parts. Step 8 is all about enrollment. Right? This is about having people come in and have access, have the opportunity to work with you in your course. And I know for a lot of people this brings up a lot of stress because now we think, oh, we're going to take off the coach and teacher hat and we're going to put on the salesperson marketer hat. And I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, the fact that you're a coach, again, is such an advantage for you when we talk about enrolling people into a group course or into a group coaching program. Now, in my experience and the way that I enrolled the first time and subsequent times for Playful Prosperity, I actually used the same strategy, is there's more kind of a passive way and there's more of an active way to do enrollment. And they're both really effective. And especially if you do them both together, you give yourself even a higher likelihood of getting people into your program. Now, the more passive way is sharing things on social media. That's been huge for me. Being able to share my beliefs, being able to share what I know to be true about the world in a way that ties into what it is I'm going to be teaching in the course. And it's not a teaser thing. It's not something to it's not something to trick people or any kind of weird thing. It's really saying, guys, this is what I believe about the world. This is what my transformation has looked like. This is what I can't shut up about. This is what I'm passionate about sharing with people. And when people feel that energy from you and they resonate with your message, especially if you've done the other work in the steps here and you're clear on kind of the pain points and how you can uniquely serve people, having an online strategy, and I use the word strategy loosely, having a way to just share your message online is a great kind of passive way to be getting people excited about your program and wanting to enroll in it. Now, on the flip side of that is a more active way. And the active way of enrolling is going to be so clear to you because you're used to doing active enrollment with your coaching, right? You get on the phone with people and you talk to them and you make sure they get a real experience of you because what you're doing is an intimate service. This is actually even easier because it doesn't require you to necessarily get on the phone and have a deep coaching conversation. But the same practice applies in reaching out and connecting with people. Right? So whether it's people who have, replied or responded or engaged with some of the content you've shared online, or just people that you know that maybe you've talked to before about one-on-one coaching and it wasn't right for them at the time, or people that were your previous clients that you did work with. You have people in your world, in your inner circle, if you really slow down and see, that you could reach out and personally invite to come into your program because you know that it would benefit them. So don't see enrollment as something that it's all about sales and marketing and tricking people. This is about looking at who is right in front of you in your world, people that you know you can uniquely serve and that you'd be excited to share what you've built with them and giving them access to come take your course. And the final step in the blueprint, step 9, is upserve. Upserve is amazing because when you've done all these things that we've broken down for you and just shown up as who you are, which is an amazing coach who wants to facilitate transformation and really cares, like at the heart level, that the people that you work with get transformation, this is an incredible step. Because this step involves saying, given the transformation you've already experienced by being in my course, given the fact that we now have this level of intimacy and experience with each other, given the fact that you're now a part of a tribe and a community that you feel supported around, and you feel like you've gotten so much value out of this, how else can I serve you, right? How else can I really help you to experience an even deeper level of transformation in your life? And so step 9 is really asking yourself, if there's some other way that you would love to serve people after this course is done, what might that look like? And you can jot this down in your worksheets. What would you love to do? Maybe you want to have like what I did. Maybe you want to have a small mastermind group. Maybe you want to have people that work with you one-on-one afterwards. Ask yourself, what are the things you could do to upserve people, to serve them at a higher level even than they've experienced in the course, and have that be an exciting thing that you're ready to create and position to people at the end of your course. Now, I know it can be really easy to go through a masterclass like this and see these 9 steps and say, that was super cool, and then put it in the worksheet and put it up on a shelf and your self-help becomes shelf-help. Let's not do that. Let's really take information and make a transformation. So here is my challenge to you if you choose to accept it. I want you to take what you've learned here today and I want you to find 3 people in your world. 3 people that love you, people that support you, people that will encourage your vision for how you want to create transformation in the world, and tell them, commit to them in a fun, playful, creative way that based on what I've learned, I am ready to create my online course. You tell those 3 people that you are dedicated to creating transformation in the world, to deepening your impact, to deepening your reach, and ask them to lovingly hold you accountable. Because you know you have a message in there that you want to share with the world, and I don't want anything to get in the way of that. So I want you to commit to finding 3 people that love you, that will support you, and that will hold you accountable so you can create transformation for the people in your world. So once you think about who those 3 people are for you, go ahead and put pen to paper, write it in your worksheet, and then go out in the world and talk to them.